The sun is out, I have white arms, and it's a perfect day to do some work on Scarlett. But before we go any further, has anybody ever noticed that the centre stand is not actually in the centre of the bike? It should now be called the off-centre centre stand. So I'm going to do some work on the bike today, and one thing I need to do is take off the front wheel. So for this video we're going to show you how to take off a front wheel from a VFR 800. The process should be the same for pretty much most bikes, but check out your Haynes manuals, workshop manuals, whatever you've got before you go ahead. Now before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, don't forget to hit the notification button, and give it a thumbs up if you like the video. I would be interested to hear your comments in the comment section below if you agree or disagree with everything that I say here. And I'd also like your opinion on whether or not the centre stand is in fact in the centre of the bike or not, and should therefore be called the off-centre centre stand, because if it was in the centre of the bike surely it would balance nicely, but it doesn't, just the front end's heavier. It is. But before we get further digressing and going off at a tangent, what we need in order to take the wheel off is some tools, some gloves, and a cup of coffee, because it's very important you stay hydrated while doing this kind of work. So cheers. Now I'm going to choke because that went down the wrong way. So the tools we need: a selection of Allen keys, a rubber mallet, a couple of sockets, a power bar, a ratchet. Now on most bikes it's actually easier to take off the front mudguard first in order to be able to do this, although I do believe, if I remember rightly, my Honda DeVille, that wasn't the case, because the actual mudguard went around here somehow, which made it impossible to take off while the wheel was still on. But on the VFR in particular, it's easy. It's just a couple of Allen key bolts, mudguard just drop straight off. On the VFR, they say all you need to do is remove this caliper and the wheel will come out. Because I'm doing some work on it, I'm going to remove both calipers just to make my life a little bit easier. So there we go. So let's get started by removing the bolts here first. So here we go. Remove that one. And always put your bolts somewhere safe so you don't lose them. Now I've changed the bolts with some nice new shiny hex key ones, and I put some nylon washers on there because it protects the paintwork better. As you can see, that's been damaged from the original bolts, so it kind of scuffs it up. Oh, I've just knocked the other camera off, which was clever of me. Pick that up in a minute. Skittles was around earlier on having some food. She's probably off now sunbathing in the shade or something. We're getting on like a house on fire, literally. And she's now actually started to eat out my hand, which is quite good. If I can get some footage of that today, I will do. This is going to be another one of those videos inside a video, inside a video, inside a video, inside a video. Welcome to the Twilight Zone of videos inside videos. Oh, look at that, I've just thrown the camera on the floor. I think I turned it off as well. That was clever. Now it's going to be completely fucked. Repairing file. Okay. Right, so front mudguard off. Very dirty. Very, very dirty. Right. Next step is to get this caliper off and the other caliper off. But while we're here, we're going to go through a few things. Okay, so this is the spindle which goes through the axle, or is the axle, should I say, and it's what the wheel spins on. These are pinch bolts, and the reason we have them there is so it actually clamps onto this spindle, because if they didn't, this spindle would rotate as the bike rotated. Obviously it would wear out, and then we'd have all sorts of problems, because we'd end up with a loose wheel wobbling all over the place, and we could even unscrew the bolt. So that's why we have the pinch bolts. Pinch bolts are the last things we undo. So I'm just going to get the Allen key for this first bit, which is this one here. Now obviously there are many reasons why you'd want to take your wheel off. If you're like me and you like repairing your bike, if you've got a puncture, you need to get a new tyre, if you want to give it a good clean. In some aspects, in particular with this bike, I've got to put new exhaust pipes on, so it's actually going to be easier for me to take the shock absorbers and the wheel off to get access to the actual downpipes at the front of the bike, because otherwise it's going to make that a little bit more difficult and entertaining. Right, so now soft mallet, give it a bit of a tap. I need to at some point also service these brakes, but I'm not going to do it until I get new hoses here. So this is off, so our next stage is to undo the other side, which I'm going to use a 12mm on a 1/2 inch drive ratchet. Basically it means that this is 1/2 inch, this square bit and that square bit. You can get them in a 1/4 drive, 1/3, or no, 1/4 drive, 3/8 or 1/2 inch. You can also get an inch, but that's like for trucks. So I'm going to undo those two. You don't want to be using anything less than a 1/2 inch on these, because you need that little bit of power, and a 3/8 you would break the ratchet if you use that. So it's worth actually investing in some decent tools as well for this. This is a really simple job. There we go. So that's it. So that's my bolts out. There. I am now going to need the power bar as well as the ratchet back again. So the power bar we're going to use to undo this one. But before we get any further, I'm just going to get my mallet and give this a tap. Yep, these brake calipers need a service at some point soon. So that's my next challenge. That's my next job, should I say. Right, now this is likely to lift the bike up as I do this. So, oh, no, there we are. Look at that. It didn't. So we undo our spindle, but we don't take it off. There's a reason for that, which I'll go through in a second. Right, now we've done that, what we can do is undo our pinch bolts. Now you don't actually have to take these all the way out, you just have to undo them. So, like so. And then the same on the other side. The same this way. Right. I think what I'll do is when I service these, I'm going to put some new discs on as well. Okay, so now that's done, what we've got to try and do is lift the front wheel up. So I've put some weight on the back end of my bike, and I've got to do this really gently because I don't want it to fall down. Here we go. There we go. Right. It's now balancing precariously on the centre stand. Just make sure it's safe. It's safe. So, the reason we don't take this out fully is because we actually have to knock the spindle through. And it's actually easier to do it while you leave this on because you're less likely to damage the threads. And it's also why you use a soft mallet, like so. There we go. And that's off. And then hopefully, if everything goes well, this should, he says, which it's not doing, which is why I've got my other toolkit here. In fact, actually, I'll probably use this. If you put a screwdriver or even an Allen key thing through here, support your front wheel and use this as a Tommy bar, it will pull it out. Lovely. Now on some bikes you will find that you'll have the speedo cable is actually attached to the front wheel, isn't it? Mechanical. This has got a mechanical on the back. There's mechanical and electronic on the back of this, so that's on the back of this. But otherwise you'll get a piece that will just hang down here on the speedo cable. Now the other thing as well you've got to be careful is you've got a spacer here and you've got a spacer this side, and that's to keep your spacers in place. Now once you've got your wheel out, it's advisable to put your axle stub through and put your nut back on, like so, because then it's going to keep your spacers in place, and you're not going to lose your spindle either. And that's how you take the front wheel off a bike.
Thank you very much for watching this video. I will catch you next Wednesday. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the notification, and you can always catch me on social media, which is in the links below. Catch you next Wednesday. Cheerio and arrivederci.